Patrick Star may be one of the most clueless yet beloved and complex characters in television history. At times, it seems his main role on SpongeBob SquarePants is to be a yes man for SpongeBob, making his best friend appear less eccentric. Patrick is as dim as the rock he lives under. Well, most of the time. Why can't we get enough of this enigmatically dumb, pudgy, pink weirdo with his few and far between sparks of genius? To answer that, we'll explore his life, from a quick visit to his childhood at Camp Coral, through his family and quirks, to his future as an older starfish. This is the complete timeline of Patrick Star. Patrick's birth and pre-Camp Coral years haven't been explored yet by the show, and remain somewhat of a mystery. But before you get your knickers in a twist, I come bearing good tidings. And if you want to see what Patrick looked like as a baby, you can. Although it's just for 1 second, probably the best goddamn second of television ever made, in Season 5 of the SpongeBob SquarePants show, Plankton turns Patrick into a baby with his goo-goo gas, part of another half-baked plan to take over the Krusty Krab. Blink and you miss it, but tell me that little face doesn't want to make you want to have your own little baby starfish one day. And if they're as adorably moronic as Patrick, that'll just be a bonus. I'm not sure if he was born that way or dropped on his head, but what I do know is that his specific caliber of intellect has been evident from his years as a kindergartner at Camp Coral, where he'd once mistaken chess for cheese.
Oh, that's why my sandwich tasted funny.
Easy mistake to make, I guess, when your brain is the size of a booger. We can make the assumption that Patrick's brain condition isn't genetic, just from looking at his parents and grandpa, although his sister is also a bit, well, different. Patrick's parents appear fairly average in both intelligence and demeanor, but Patrick reveals an unbelievable secret about them to SpongeBob before one of their visits.
SpongeBob, my parents think I'm dumber than a sack of diapers.
Luckily, SpongeBob is always there to cheer him up by, tickling Patrick's nipples? In this case, I think. He really needed that, because it fills Patrick with anxiety-fueled sadness that his parents think he's dumb, which is probably why he spent the whole morning building furniture out of sand and spit. When his parents finally arrive, Patrick forgets that SpongeBob agreed to help him by acting stupider than he is, so Patrick would look better in comparison. And now Patrick thinks SpongeBob is actually the dumb one. But this bout of temporary insanity is cured when Patrick realizes that those weren't his parents at all, but some random starfish that thought they had a son, but remembered incorrectly. Apparently. And they look almost nothing like his real parents, Herb and Margie, who show up later delighted that he remembered them. I wish I had parents like Herb and Margie, who loved me, despite my stupidity. Color me jealous. Patrick doesn't change much through the seasons, and thank the ocean gods and the good people at Nickelodeon for that, because I love him exactly the way he is, and all traits that make him the Patrick he is, from his laziness to the friendship that defines him. Patrick does not like working, okay? For him, laziness is less of a personality trait than a hobby, and good for him. He's a freaking starfish after all. Nevertheless, there were at least 2 times that Patrick attempted to go against his lethargic grain, and tried his hand at working at different businesses. The first time was at the Krusty Krab because he felt disappointed for not winning any awards, while SpongeBob had closets full of the things.
I want an award!
He thought doing something productive would help his cause, but Patrick's not good at, well, stuff. From opening jars,
The lid.
to answering the phone.
Is this the Krusty Krab? No! This is Patrick!
At the end, he did win a trophy, though, for doing absolutely nothing longer than anyone else. This is just a hunch, but I think he probably would have done better if he didn't eat the customers' orders before he served them. Eating drives and influences most of Patrick's decisions, such as when he, despite his inherent laziness, took a job at Goofy Goober's just to get free ice cream. As with his short stint at the Krusty Krab, things did not go well. The manager especially didn't like his method for cleaning plates. At the end of the day, he did get the hang of working at Goofy Goober and he got his free ice cream, but he ate it so fast he destroyed the space-time continuum, which I'll mention again a bit later because it severely affects Patrick's timeline. Patrick's insatiable hunger, hilarious cluelessness, and unwavering laziness play big roles in his life, but none as much as his friendship with SpongeBob. Patrick plays the role of SpongeBob's extremely loyal best friend, and his laid-back, carefree attitude helps balance SpongeBob's high-spirited nature. Their friendship forms one of the most enduring and heartwarming bonds in Bikini Bottom, from jellyfishing to blowing bubbles to working together at the Krusty Krab. Once. They're almost always together. Patrick would truly be lost without SpongeBob, because I believe SpongeBob completes Patrick in more ways than we know, and that's why we love Patrick. In some ways, he's still a small child and needs SpongeBob to look after him. But this innocent and vulnerable part of Patrick also fondly reminds us of the children inside all of us, and I think that's why we love him so much. Even though Patrick lives his life like a toddler trapped in the body of an adult starfish, he seems to have an affinity to age quicker, like the time he mysteriously grew a thick hipster beard over the course of a nap, although the beard turns out to have been a hibernating sea urchin. Another time Patrick gets out of a pool all wrinkled and gets mistaken for an elderly person by an old lady called Clarabelle, and also himself, because he starts to act and look older and older, even though he's still just normal-aged Patrick. So we have some idea of what Patrick will look like when he's old. Where and how Patrick really ends up remains a mystery open for your interpretation. Let's get back to something I mentioned earlier. Working at the Goofy Goober, he got such severe brain freeze that he froze the whole world for 5 billion years. And then, once it thawed again, he walked out and got in a banana split-shaped UFO and flew away. Does he ever come back, or is this the end of Patrick's timeline? Will we ever see him in his old age? Maybe, because I think he did come back, although the series never shows us his return. My reasoning? He'd never leave without SpongeBob. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.